Good afternoon, everyone. How are we doing? Good. That's great. Happy Fine Arts Week. How'd you like Lone Pignon this morning? Yeah, they were phenomenal. I'm feeling so inspired as a musician just by being able to listen to them, hear them talk about their lives and their music. Just really incredible. So it's great to have those moments. And I think this hour will be that for you as well. This is our music composition recital featuring our students that are in the music composition class. My name is Mr. Calloway. I teach orchestra here, and I also teach the music composition class. And this session is as old as Fine Arts Week. This has always been a staple of Fine Arts Week, being able to showcase the creative work that our music composition students are doing. If we could please have our music comp students stand up, give it up for them. Excellent. Thank you so much. So, as a musician, as a composer, as an artist, it is sometimes challenging to put your work up for public audience. As a class, what we do is we create these pieces based on a number of parameters, and then we present them to the class for critique and feedback. A lot of the critique is really, really positive. We say things that we enjoy about the pieces, and then we also give critical feedback. For example, if you're writing for trombone and you don't play the instruments, maybe one of our other musicians in the class does play trombone and they can give some feedback on it. So these are pieces that have all been selected by the students. They made their choices on what they would like to present to you as an audience. And what we'll do is we'll kind of go through in the order that they composed them throughout the year. And each student is going to talk a little bit about their piece, and then we'll listen to it, we'll have applause, and then we'll move on to the next one. We have 12 pieces to show you, so there's a lot to fit into this hour. And I'm sure you're going to be really excited and amazed by the work that all these students have done. So I told you a little bit about this already, but in this class we learn how to compose. We learn some of the parameters that go into it and some of the theory behind it. You heard our guest artist today talk a little bit about some of the music theory things that they do. We implement that as well, and then the students are free to create and use their imagination to compose these pieces. The software that we use is Finale. It's just a music notation software, so that's what you'll see and hear in just a moment. These are all of the projects that we've done this year. There have been 15 different compositions. It's about one every 2 weeks. How many of you have composed something before? Yeah, it's a lot of hard work and it takes a lot of time, right? So imagine having 15 of these under your belt already this school year and more to come. So at the beginning of the school year, we talked about the main elements of music. Some of those being rhythm, harmony, timbre, texture. So we're going to take you through some of those, and then we'll get into some of the later projects here towards the end of the hour. Okay, so first thing that we talked about was melody. Thinking of like Ode to Joy or Happy Birthday. These like really, really memorable melodies. It's a collection of notes, it's a sequence of notes that's really musically satisfying altogether. And so that was kind of the framework for this assignment, was to create a melody that was really, really satisfying and then go from there. So we're going to invite Winter to talk about Painting Stars.
Before I explain anything about this piece, this class is actually one of the classes at the school that you can take multiple times and still get full credit for. So this is actually my second year taking it, which is why my piece is definitely a little more advanced than the other ones from the rest of the class from the beginning of the year. This piece was, I just came with a melody and, like the assignment said, and ran with it. A lot of the themes of, like, especially the use of, like, the energetic full string orchestra was inspired by Hollow Knight's Silk Song, anyway he's played it. But other than that, that's all I really have to say about this one.
Okay, our next composition talked about harmony. So this is simultaneously sounding notes creates harmony. And one thing that we talked about with this is how to create a chord progression, something that the melody can sit atop of and feel really, really satisfied in that way. So to talk about their composition, here is Cyan.
For this project, we were tasked with coming up with a short chord progression and writing something around that. So for more musically inclined people in here, my chord progression follows D major, F sharp minor, E minor, and F sharp major. And so basically the entire piece is written around those 4 chords and with different melodies on top. Another aspect of this that I'd like to share is I'm a percussionist, and a lot of stuff that we do is learning more about the different sounds that an instrument can make. So I look for more obscure instruments or stranger instruments to get new tones, as I like exploring lesser heard sounds.
Okay, after harmony, we talked about timbre. This is the unique quality of an instrument. It's the reason why a flute and a violin sound different, even though maybe they're playing the same notes, or why we have different voices. So for this, students had to draw an emotion and then create a piece around that. So to talk about their piece, here we have Caroline King.
So yeah, the emotion that I received for this assignment was anxiousness, and I wanted to convey the uneasiness and uncertainty that often comes with anxiousness. A lot of the music that we listen to today is in a 4/4 time signature. That means that there are 4 beats in every measure of music. So to convey this uneasiness, I wrote this piece in a 5/4 time signature, which has an asymmetrical division of the beats because 5 cannot be divided by 2 with whole numbers. Additionally, I tried to evoke the uncertainty that comes with anxiety through kind of mysterious sounding melodies at the beginning and frantic melodies towards the end. So I hope you enjoy.
So here you're going to get an example of the same project, timbre and composing it about an emotion, but two very different pieces. And when we present these to the class, we hear 9 totally unique pieces based on whatever the project or the topic is. So to talk about their timbre piece, here is Eli.
For my piece, I got sadness, and for that I use a whole bunch of string instruments because I usually hear those be used in a lot of other pieces. And the bass drum part is also partially inspired by Kali's guys. Quick Sandwich is a great song. I'm hoping you enjoy my piece.
Okay, next up we talked about this idea of texture in music, and there's some visuals up there to kind of show you, but texture is basically how things are layered. A lot of music that we hear is melody, harmony, bass line, some rhythm in there as well, but there's a lot of different styles that we talked about, and to talk about their piece, here's Emma.
I based my piece on a clock, and I picked this because I thought it had the most capacity for layering. I tried to recreate the sound of a clock ticking, and it's mostly prominent in the marimba, which is up there without the name. My goal was to create a sort of fast-paced piece that used multiple kinds of layering in order to emphasize and accentuate the melody throughout. I hope you enjoy.
Okay, next up, we talked about this idea of a mode. So many of us know major and minor. Those are two different scales that we use to kind of organize our notes. And in addition to that, there are modes. So just other organizations of notes. So to talk about their piece, we have Benji.
My piece is in Lydian, which is basically to take the major scale, raise the fourth note in it. So it makes it a little bit like, it's the brightest of all of the modes. And it can sound kind of like weird, whimsically. I named the piece Meeting the Occult because it sounds like to me, not like a ghost, but kind of like, found a spirit in the woods, kind of like this. I was inspired by a lot of stuff that I've been doing in jazz band. But yeah, that's all.
Okay, so one of the things about being a composer, that you create your own things, but many composers also arrange works that are already made for a different ensemble. So the idea behind this composition project was to take a piano score and arrange it for either a string quartet or a string quintet. So to talk about their piece, here's Isla.
Yeah, so pretty much what I did for this one was, I first got the idea for this one was because I sang this piece before, a couple years back with an ensemble and choir, and once I remembered it, I remembered like how fun it sounded, and I thought, how could I translate this over to strings without completely like fudging it up? And there were some parts that were kind of tricky, and so a technique that I used was I took some parts from the vocal line and I inserted those in because the vocal line is there for a reason. It goes along with the piano, and so that was kind of my process.
I'm going to play you about 20 seconds of the piano part so you can see what it looks like, and then we'll show Isla's right after that. Okay, and we have time for just one more composition. We're nearing the end of the hour. We added a couple extra at the end just in case we had time. For this last one, this is a project that we just completed. And for this it was, let's take all of the instruments and the voices that we as a class can play or sing and compose for that group. And this is something that composers will do as well. They'll be asked to compose for 3 flutes and a cello. And you have to come up with something based on instrumentation. So that's what we did. You'll see there on the screen the instruments that we felt comfortable performing on, instruments and voices, I should say. And then beyond that, it was totally open to these composers to create the piece based on that. So to talk about their composition, here's Brady.
So yeah, as Mr. Calloway said, this was our most recent project, and we were given this list of instruments to work with. So I decided to go with a kind of like a desert-sounding piece, and so as we learned about in our mode project before that, I chose to write in D phrygian dominant mode, which sounds rough, but it's basically just a set of notes that you can use, and it makes it sound darker and more tense. And you'll hear that throughout the piece. So thank you.
I'll say too, there's so many instruments on here that I can't fit everything on the screen. So you'll hear some things that you won't see. So as you can hear, so many different projects, and you can hear each of these composers' voice throughout this music. And for all of these that you heard, we have over 100 compositions as a class, so pretty amazing. Give it up for all of our composers. If you have any questions that you would like to ask us, we will hang out for a minute here. Otherwise, you are excused to go to your next class. Thank you for being a great audience, everyone.